Hello everyone, welcome back. Let us continue our discussion on how we can improve essay test. So first part was while framing questions, second is while scoring questions. So while scoring an essay question, prepare a marking scheme suggesting the best possible answer and the weightage given to the various points of this model answer. We'll learn what exactly is the marking scheme in our coming videos. Moving ahead, use appropriate methods to minimize bias, like that of a marking scheme. Pay attention to only the significant and relevant aspects which are a part of the answer. Do not let your personal idiosyncrasies affect the assessment. Do apply uniform standard to all the papers and do not treat each paper based on the appearance of it, that is based on the handwriting and all the other aspects, because the content matters. C is check your marking scheme against actual responses while you are assessing the answers, and grade only one question at a time for all papers to avoid the halo effect. Now, let us discuss the second type of test, that is the objective type of test. Now, we all are familiar with the term objective test. So, it refers to any written test that requires the examinee to select the correct answer from among one or more of several alternatives, or supply a word or two, and that demands an objective judgment when it is scored. So, it is basically selecting an answer or supplying an answer, but a single answer for everyone. Now, when the questions are framed with reference to the objectives of instructions, the test becomes objective-centered or objective-based. You'll be more clear on this as we proceed. Now, objective tests can be of two types, essay type, objective type. When we talk about objective type test items, most important criterion is that it can be most objectively scored, because the common answer will be there for each test. And the scoring will not vary from examiner to examiner. Now, there are different types of objective type test items, like supply type or recall type, which includes the short answers or completion answers, like completing the sentence, fill in the blanks. Then, the selection type or recognition type answers, which include the alternate response, matching, and multiple choice. So, you need to remember when you frame an objective type of a question, you can either go for supply type, which is also called recall type, or selection type, which is also called recognition type, and the examples are mentioned here. Third one is the context-dependent type, which is a bit rare, but it is used in maximum papers wherein the concept is presented in a pictorial form or an interpretative form, and the students are supposed to answer the question. Now, what are the merits of objective type test? Now, it can be stored objectively and easily because the answer is common for everyone. It will not vary from time to time. Free from personal factor of examiner. Mood of the examiner no way affects the scoring. There is no chance of favoritism. More extensive and representative sampling can be obtained. It reduces the role of clerk and cramming of expected questions. So there is no way by which you can do favoritism to any students. Again, economy of time, because it is easier to frame. There is not much to write and think about when you're discussing an objective type of a question. In a way, if you know the concept really well as a teacher, then you can frame objective questions quite easily. Otherwise, it can get difficult. It eliminates extra factors. Incentive for pupils to create broad-based knowledge. So it is basically helps you check whether the students really have understood the concept or not. Can be scored in less time because there is lack of reading here in comparison to essay type, and more educative because the students get the answer and understand the concept point to point. Now, there are certain limitations to objective type of test. Objectives like ability to organize matter, ability to present matter logically and in coherent fashion cannot be evaluated because the answer is straightforward, one word or just supply or select. Objectives like appreciation, criticism, power of judgment and expression, language, and writing, mastery of the content cannot be evaluated. Not permitted to express their views. The guessing is possible here. Construction is a bit time consuming in a way if you are really not aware of the concept. Printing cost gets greater because many questions will have to frame and it will occupy n number of pages. Malpractices are possible, easier to cheat because the students can share answers among each other very easily. So these are the various aspects associated with objective type test. Let us go ahead and discuss more about it. The question is how to construct an objective type test item. So what are the ways by which we can take care of objective type question items? Now, to be a good item writer, one should note that he or she should have thorough understanding of the subject matter. As I already said, if you do not have good understanding of the content, then it becomes difficult for the student, for the teacher to frame the questions. But if you really have a good understanding, you can really come up with really good objective type of questions. Thorough understanding of the pupil tested, what kind of questions they can answer. Perseverance, because a lot of work and a lot of time can be consumed in this process. Little creativity to prepare fertile kind of items because the questions need to be really logical and you need to frame them in such a way that they will look appealing. Now there are certain guidelines that you need to follow. Now test for important facts and knowledge and not for the trivial details. You don't have to get into the details of it, but frame objective type of questions on those things which you think are important in terms of actual knowledge. Tailor the items to fit the examinee's age and ability level as well as the purpose of the test. You need to understand that the questions need to be framed as per the level of the student and the ability level of the student, the age level of the student. Otherwise, it will also the purpose of the test. Otherwise, it will not be a suitable kind of an objective test because while framing objective type of questions, questions sometimes can get difficult. You need to understand all those three aspects are framing objective type questions. Write the items as clearly as possible. There shouldn't be any ambiguity in the question. Avoid ambiguous statements. Quantitative rather than qualitative words should be used. So qualitative words in the sense which emphasizes on the kind of answer you expect should be used in a major part of the question apart from using quantitative in like in how many words and all of that you expect the answer, but the words which are mentioned in the question should be qualitative, which refers to the concept that you expect the child to remember. Use good grammar and sentence structure to improve clarity. Use simple numbers and have the answer come out of a whole number in case you are writing a math objective test, even for some of the questions associated with time. Avoid lifting statements from the textbook. Don't take statements as are mentioned in the textbook because it doesn't improve the quality of the test. It is just replica of what you just taught in the class. So to take care that you frame the questions properly apart and avoid lifting them from the textbook straight away. Avoid using interrogative terms, as in when you expect an answer which starts with a vowel. Okay, you don't put an N there at the end of the objective test item. Instead, put A or AN. So the student will get confused. Sometimes those terms that you use before the answer can serve as one of the cues for the students to guess the answer. So you have to be very careful. There should be only one correct answer in the options that you provide. The authority should be mentioned for statements that may be considered controversial. So if you have taken any statement which you think can get controversial, you need to mention the reference. Avoid negative questions whenever possible. Do not give the answer away. Avoid tricky and catch items. Keep it as simple as possible. Avoid unnecessary use of difficult words or symbols. So you need to use the language which you think can be understood by the student. That's what the age level and the purpose of the test and the kind of students that you are dealing with matters. Get an independent review of your test items from a teacher who teaches the same subject. You get it checked from someone else who teaches the same subject or has any idea about it, because you can get the items corrected if there are any issues or any difficulty in framing the questions. Now, again, objective type test items can be broadly classified again into two that we just saw, that is supply type, which is also called recall type, which involves a short answer. The respondents who have to supply the responses, like completion type test items, single word symbol formula, multiple choice words or phrases. Second one is selection type, which also we saw, which is also called recognition type. For example, true and false items, multiple choice items, matching type items. Then content dependent type items, which include pictorial and interpretative. So we have to be aware of what type of an item we are choosing and what it is exactly and which category does it fall in. So if you go for completion test, multiple words or phrase or single word answer, it is supply type. Selection type is like true, false, multiple choice, matching type, wherein the answers are given there, you just have to select the answer. That's why it is called selection type. Supply type, where you have to supply the answer. Content dependent type are pictorial interpretative, wherein they have to answer the question based on the picture, which is a representation of the concept the teacher expects the students to explain. Moving ahead. The third type, that is short answer type. The first one was essay type. Second one is objective type. Now third one is short answer type. Now what is a short answer? A question requiring 3 value points at most may be defined as a short answer question. So if the question expects the student to write at least 3 value points, it is considered a short answer type question. The value point diminishes the subjectivity because the student is expected to answer in a particular manner and those particular points. It helps in ensuring wide coverage of the content. Now, there are certain objectives, advantages of short answer type questions, because larger portion of the content can be covered in a test if you choose to give short answer type items. No opportunity for guessing, because here they also need to know the content really well to answer such questions. Easy to construct because it measures a relatively simple outcomes and specific answers. It can be made quite objective by carefully fixing the value points, useful in evaluating the ability to interpret diagrams, charts, graphs, etc. So you can make use of these questions while you want context-dependent type of questions to be asked based on a graph, diagram, or a chart. It carefully prepared deep-level objectives like understanding, application, and problem-solving skill can be evaluated if you ask a proper question. Apart from its advantages, there are certain limitations to it as well. It is more subjective than the objective type of test items, but less subjective than that of essay. It may encourage students to memorize facts and develop poor study habits. Mechanical scoring is not possible as it has value points, and you have to score the student based on the value points that they have written in the answer. So in our next video, we will discuss about how to construct an achievement test, as we have already discussed in the previous 2 videos, which are the types of test items we can include in the question paper. Thank you.